let's get into the show. Thank you all for all the support, as always. It's been fantastic thus far. We're coming up on a 2-month anniversary of the show, and we just keep trucking on, so really do appreciate it. So, the breaking news from yesterday and today, J.J. Watt signing a 2-year, $31 million contract with $23 million guaranteed with the Arizona Cardinals. Probably not the first team that you would think that J.J. Watt would be signing with. I know that I really didn't consider Arizona at all when it came to this. I feel like Arizona is very much so a forgotten team, and that's not okay. Arizona really has been relevant, more so probably within the last 5 years or so. It's been a mostly relevant football team, but I think the NFL just tends to forget about the Arizona Cardinals. But regardless, J.J. Watt didn't forget about the Arizona Cardinals. Again, 2-year, $31 million, 23 guaranteed the first year. So essentially it's like a 1-year, $23 million guaranteed contract with just an extra year for giggles. Again, nobody that all the analysts and the media seemed very shocked, because the perception around the media, and I guess really the casual football fan as well, was the idea rather, that JJ Watt was going to want to be a Super Bowl contender. He's going to want to be on a contending team. He's going to want to chase rings. He's 31. He's about 2 years not removed, but I guess he's 2 years ahead of sliding out of his prime. He's got probably about 2 more years of really good quality elite football left before he gets to that old and broken veteran stage of his career. So a lot of people were predicting that he would want to go ring chasing, whether that would be in Buffalo or Green Bay or Cleveland or Tampa Bay. There were a couple of options for J.J. Watt that were really viable options, and the money could have worked out if he really wanted to compete for a Super Bowl. But I guess now we know the team that was offering $15 million a year for J.J. Watt's services, and that was the Arizona Cardinals. And what this deal showed to me, and I think surprises everybody that's talked about this story over the past 48 hours, is the fact that we as a collective completely misunderstood J.J. Watt's current motivations and needs as a football player. This 2-year deal has showed that he does want to be a contender in the future. He is going to have that Super Bowl contending phase of his career, but it's just not going to be right now. I think J.J. Watt primarily is focused on his personal happiness. And when you take a look at his situation in Houston, you can absolutely understand why happiness and financial security is the 1 and 2 priorities that J.J. Watt has when it came to his free agency decision this offseason. Now, I think the real attraction to Arizona, apart from the quarterback, which Ed Werder posted a tweet that basically said that J.J. Watt's number one consideration was who was the quarterback. So, I mean, Kyler Murray is a fine quarterback. I think he struggled towards the end of 2020, but as an athlete, he's extremely gifted. But I think the thing that really attracted J.J. Watt was familiarity. You have DeAndre Hopkins, who was traded obviously a season ago, and you do have Vance Joseph currently as the defensive coordinator, who was the defensive coordinator of the Houston Texans when they drafted J.J. Watt in 2011, if I remember correctly. So J.J. Watt is choosing familiarity. He's choosing a comfortable location in which he can play for a couple of seasons with a great defense, because let's be honest, the Arizona Cardinals are not like the New York Giants or the Philadelphia Eagles or the Jets of the football world in terms of, okay, they're not going to be contending for a while. The Arizona Cardinals actually do have some nice pieces, especially on the defensive side. Patrick Peterson is a free agent. They might decide to let him go, but the real attraction, I think, on the defensive side of things for J.J. Watt is the fact that Chandler Jones is also there. Arizona's going to have to do pretty much everything that they need to do to bring him back as well. But the idea of having Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt on opposite sides of one another, that's a scary defense to face, especially because you can't double team both of them. So one of them is going to be getting to the quarterback. You have probably 2 of the top 5 pass rushing edge rushers in the game when they're all both healthy. So that is an extremely scary defense for Arizona on top of what they already had. And, the offense isn't bad either. Kenyon Drake and Arizona has been decent for them. Christian Kirk is a very dependable wide receiver. Larry Fitzgerald is going to, I guess, continue playing until he's 60 years old. And of course, Kyler Murray, as we already said, is proven to be at the very least a very gifted athlete. So you can understand why, from a football perspective, J.J. Watt would want to go there. And then again, there's the familiarity with the players, DeAndre Hopkins and Vance Joseph, his coach from a former regime. So that's when you piece all of those together, when you connect the dots, you say, okay, like I can understand why JJ Watt would be comfortable and happy in Arizona when coming from a place in which they're trading their best players, they're refusing and strangleholding their star quarterback, whom you pulled aside at the very end of the season and said, I am so sorry, Deshaun, that we wasted your season. When you come from that situation to the situation that the Arizona Cardinals were presenting, you can absolutely understand why J.J. Watt chose his personal happiness over a Super Bowl contending team currently. Now, that's where the currently comes in, is that, hey, this is a 2-year deal. This isn't signing for 3 or 4 years. This isn't signing for 5 years max deal. This is 2 years. This is 1 year, $23 million guaranteed with an extra year turned on just for funsies. So this is saying, okay, the Arizona Cardinals were a good enough team to allow me to have my services. I'll be happy here. They had the potential to be a playoff team, if not this year, the following year. So they have 2 years to get everything together. And if they still can't get it together, and it doesn't look like they're going to be in a position to win a Super Bowl by that third year, then I am released from my contract, and I, playing as J.J. Watt at this point, I am released from my contract, and then I can go and chase my Super Bowl ring with whoever would want my services for a veteran minimum deal at the very least. Because J.J. Watt will be 33 or 34 at that point. That's towards the end of the career. There are players that play further, but with how much J.J. has been injured over the course of his career, I'd be surprised if he plays longer than that. So, J.J. Watt, I think, has played this almost perfectly. He's secured his financial situation almost immediately, although finances probably weren't a huge deal for J.J. Watt considering how much he's been paid as a 3-time defensive player of the year. But regardless of that, for his family, the situation in Arizona is going to be good financially. It's going to be good in terms of his happiness as a player. And if the Super Bowl and the playoffs and the ascending rise of the Arizona Cardinals isn't exactly at the pace that he wants it to be by the end of his 2-year contract, then he has the ability to say, hey, look, guys, it's been great, but I am going to go get myself a Super Bowl ring, and whoever is in a position to sign him at that time is going to be able to sign J.J. Watt, and they'll be in a tremendous position to make a good Super Bowl run. So realistically speaking, it's absolutely not what we thought it was going to be when it came to the J.J. Watt signing. Obviously, I had my thoughts about who he would go to. I didn't think that the Bills were a contender initially, but, if they made some cuts, I think the Bills and J.J. Watt would have been a fantastic fit when you're thinking about purely about Super Bowl contention. But with the way that it's played out, the media and the casual fan base got his intentions wrong. He chose happiness over Super Bowl contention, at least at this point, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of seasons in Arizona. It's really going to depend on how much can Cliff Kingsbury and that coaching staff really coach up this team, and especially a younger offense, and make them into contenders. This is a make or break year for Kingsbury. He improved on last year. He improved last year on the previous season's total, so if he makes the playoffs this year, he'll be on track. Again, he's playing in the hardest division, I think, in football at the moment in the NFC West, so nothing is guaranteed, but it's at least you can understand why JJ would want to go there from a personnel standpoint. It's going to be interesting to see what the Cardinals can do within the next 2 or 3 seasons. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this segment from the Hard Headed Sports Podcast. You've heard what I've had to say, now I'm interested to hear what you think as well. If you enjoyed this highlight from the show and want to watch more highlights from the show as they come out after the show's completion, you should definitely subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you're interested in listening to the entire show in its full-length entirety, you should follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all very soon.